Welcome back for another video, another tutorial. Sorry, my bad. Another tutorial on Roblox Fun and Pines, and today I'll be showing you how to scale your weapons. By weapons, I mean your accessory. I mean the tools. If you know what I mean these. The tools. So today I'll show you how to scale them, but as well I'll explain a little bit of downfalls just before we start. Doing scaling weapons is actually get a bit riskier if you decide to scale them up, because it falls under not only rule 12, but I think if I'm not mistaken it does fall under rule 8. You'll see why I mean rule 12 later. What am I doing? Anyways, let's get started. So, example, you have a character. Let me take mine real quick if you guys don't remember from the last video. I know it's a little glitchy because they did an update a few months ago, but you guys might remember Eradicator or Mark 1 combat. Well, example, if I take the Excalibur, hold on. Let me go get the give me this, and give me this. Give me! Jesus Christ. Let's return there. So, it is simple. So, example, you take your weapon, but you say, like, it doesn't look good because of the sword. I got y'all. Watch this. So, like, I know this may seem a little weird, but you have to mess with the character sizing. Why? Let me show you. Have any avatar can use? Nope. Alright. So let me reset the size, because it is mainly important. Boop. This may seem glitchy, but I do not care. Also, never do this with pre-made avatar, because it will constantly glitch like that. Alright. So first, the main thing you want to do is to not click too fast while you're doing this process, because you might get kicked due to the anti-spamming tool system. It is pretty simple to do. So, you take your weapon, like in your hands, and whatever you want to size it up or size down, you size down your character, just for me, just to show you. And normally, it should size down the weapon. Now, unequip the weapon and reset the size. The weapon should be the exact same size as it was before. As I said, do not bother clicking too fast, because it might get you kicked. I suggest waiting like 5 seconds each time you do it. Like example, I reset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you do the exact same process over and over without getting kicked. Let me size it up one last time, and let me reload the avatar. So now if I take the weapon this time, do you guys see it? I don't. And it should give us something a little like this. Yeah, I know we barely hear the sound effect, And we still see the trail of the Excalibur, but you don't see the main weapon. Which is actually so good if you want to make characters without knowing the existence of that stupid weapons you're holding in your hand. I'm taking the example of the pipe, or other stuff is such as like the abilities, which I'm gonna get in a couple seconds. But sizing down is basically the best option to do to optimize your character fighting skills, because it do the real advantage if you're doing this as your main objective is like it gives like more potential to your avatar. Like you're just holding like I can make an example. Like a sight, something like this, and you're holding it the exact same way as I'm holding it. Or if we take another example, as this one, you will not see the weapon, but you will see the accessory in your hand. Keep in mind, note, some weapons are still visible even sized to the maximum. Well, sorta. Now I will show you what happened if you size the weapon up. I'm gonna show you because I did this accidentally in a public server. So it works with guns, by the way. Guns, literal guns. All right. So as before, I'm just gonna reset the size. Example: if I take, what should I take? The snap, the AR. See? It's just a regular AR. But remember what was the trick I did? So instead of sizing down, you size up. And you're equip, reset size, and I should have a bigger rifle than that. Looks like a 50 BMG. If I size it up again, resize down, should have something a little more like this. Holy weapon! Size it up, unequip, reset. Size and equip, size up, unequip. Reset size, equip, size up, and unequip. Let me just do it a couple of times and then show you what it does look like in the suburb. Alright, let's go. Alright, let's go into the suburb area. Let me kick in some little music around here. So I'll show you what happened. Alright, this is the example of the Excalibur, which I sized down earlier. And this is what happened if you size it up a bit too much. Yeah, you can end up with something a bit like this. Which, this is what I mean, but it does fall under Rule 12. Because look at this! Like, there's just this player here, you just block the view of them with just a huge ass rifle. Yeah. And they heavily even mention blocking visibility, causing lag, etc. This is actually related to that. Well, not causing lag, but blocking visibility. And it can be tied to Rule 8 for a single reason. See, some weapon emit sounds once equipped. Like this. Chainsaw as well does. If you keep doing this into a public server, you might get warned or get in some troubles. So I heavily advise doing this into an area that you won't get disturbed. Like I usually does this in the parking lot of the forest campsite. But yeah, just trust me. If you ever see one of these weapons, report them to an admin, or sorta, because we do not like player breaking this rule right here. It is bad for the community of Fallen Pines. You know what I mean. But I'm mainly doing it for showcase. And by the way, I told you earlier, it does work with the abilities. I'm gonna take one of my favorites, but it doesn't. Disclaim: it doesn't work with all 100% all of the abilities. If I take the example that went from the Saiyan event or the Sins. So if I take like the Scorching Railgun, no, like the Inferno Preller, remember the size of it just just before I size it up. This is regular size. Watch what happens if I size it up. Alright, let's check this time. Tell me if there's a difference. See? You can make straight up orbital strike out of this. Like, straight up a whole orbital strike. I mainly see this in public servers, and yet again, it does fall under Rule 12. Well, not technically. You see? Let me size it up a little just more. Normally, the first pillar was like right about here. It doesn't fall. It's kind of a 50-50 with Rule 12 and Rule 8. Not really. Rule 12, I'm explaining why. Because, example, if there's like 1,200 of a million players, I'm just making an example. It's just for meaning that there is a lot of player in there. But example, if you're like outside spamming the shit out of the Inferno Pillar, that's for sure you're gonna get warned about it. So I heavily recommend not doing that. Well, you can do this in private RP, but for players, I heavily not recommend sizing it up. I heavily recommend sizing it down. It is the same with the Vector Repulse. This is the regular size. Watch what happens if I size it up. Alright, watch this time. You saw the range of this? Let me re-show it. See, like it went like all the way back here. Compared to the normal one, was like from here. And it does work with this one as well. Now watch. I think it will. Yeah, it does. It works with this one as well. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it does work with the Scorching Railgun. Yeah, you can even end up with something like this. So it is heavily advised to not do this in public servers, because you don't want to know how many times I had to mess with these guys, telling them that they are literally bypassing row 12. But if I'm not mistaken, I think, yeah, you can even end up with like a death ray of hell. Did I reset? Did I reset? I don't know. But if I take like, there's 2 of them here I can take. Just for example. Alright, let me try the... wasn't it Infernal Spike? Alright, this one. Let me try to size it up. Oh! What the... Oh what the? That's the issue. Also, yeah, I forgot to tell that. But if your weapon is sized up a little too much, you might want to end up with something a bit like this. But let me get up. What? Hold on, let me rejoin. Hold on. Did I have my Fallen Pine page? Yeah, hold on. But you might want to get the point where yeah, I'm going with this. Never use oversized weapon in a public server. I heavily recommend doing the sized down weapon, like the not oversized one. Let's take our Rad Mark 1 combat. Hold on. Alright, this is regular size. Did something change? Hold on, we're trying stuff. Yeah, no, it doesn't affect these ones. So the only one that are affected are these ones right here and oops, the one from the Sins event and the one from the True Fallen. Yes, the True Fallen does work, but it's a little not what I expected. You'll see. So, what I mean by that is, let me show you. So this is regular light beam, also known as the sniper bullet, I'm gonna say. If I do try to size it up, do my little technique, you might end up with something like this. which is I mean, I don't know what to say about this. I don't know if it does fall under Rule 12. Because, I mean, it could be perfect as if you're like a sniper. Just a bullet passed by you. But, I don't know by that point if it's still bypassing Rule 12. It still does the same with the solar punch. Might want to end up with something like this. Yeah, let me back up a little bit. Watch how big was that explosion. What is this, One Punch Man? Like, is this, I might say that this can fall under Rule 12. I don't know. But it can most likely be used as like whatever character you're playing. It can be used as one of their power. Like our ultimate punch of doom. It does work. With the Radiance Barrage. With something like this. This does fall under Rule 12. What? Let me explain. So, the unusual normal sized Radiance Barrage is actually smaller than that. But now, this is a little too oversized. So this is falling against Rule 12. And by the way, I think if I'm not mistaken, it does work with some of the ores. Yeah, you might end up with something like this. Just a pure flashbang. Oh my goodness. Anyways, so now the true answer: is it actually worth it scaling your weapons? Yes, but I'm gonna explain a bit of downsides. Scaling weapons down, the good advantage is it gives a more how can I say that? It gives more potential to your avatars. Like you're just not holding just a rusty pipe onto your shoulder. You're just holding like a real sword. But the other disadvantage of scaling them down is the issue of getting kicked out. What I mean by that is the anti-spamming tool system, or ASTS I think. Yeah. Anti-spamming tool system. ASTS. So if you like, it is actually very simple to avoid the ASTS. Yeah, my bad. But the only way to avoid the ASTS is to not repeatedly Like, whoop, like this. No, you do it after 5 seconds. You re-equip the avatar to just have less chance of being kicked. Now I'm gonna pass to the scaling it up. Scaling a weapon up might somewhat get you kicked or get temporary ban whenever what was your actions. And the other disadvantage is it does fall under Rule 12. Because remember, I'm just going to show you an example of what I was doing to get me warned accidentally one time. I'm going to show you. I'm gonna show you what I was doing. Oh yeah, let me go get on top of that building real quick. Because I had struggled when I was doing that. Alright. Yeah, you see, you might end up with a little something like this. Let me show you what happened if you do continue it to size it up. I think it was the exact same size. Yeah, it was like that. So this is what I did. Hold on. What? Yeah, the problem is sometimes max sizing up some tools may get your game to glitch. Like this. But this is what I was doing. I was up there with that huge ass sniper rifle. And like doing something like this. Like just swinging around. People were actually confused when they actually saw me, but this is where the admin actually kicked in. But yeah, this is what happens if you kind of wait. Hold on. Hold on, let me make the real thumbnail. I know this is not the right time to do it, but I have a peak idea for the thumbnail. Let me take the real size sniper rifle. So if I take a screenshot right here. No wait, let me. Hold on, I'll make it later. Anyways, you rather get the point. So sizing your weapon down and up. Down is a good idea. Up, I should heavily recommend private servers, because they do mess with the rule 12, and as I said it for like the 1200th time, I don't know. Does it affect it if I do it with? Huh? What the? What? Alright guys, well it does work with these, but they do glitch. So that was the tutorial on how do you scale your tools. Is it worth it? Kind of. Well, sizing them down gives you the advantage, but sizing them up gives you the disadvantage of you getting banned. Sorry. So let me just show you how, just before we end, so you make sure you guys have 100% known how to size them up. We're gonna do it slow, just before. Alright, so you take the tool, you go in the second button, you size up or whatever size down, you unequip the tool, and you reset the size. And you should have a bigger... you should have a weapon similar to this. Or similar to this. If I do size it up again, I have the shotgun. So anyways, I'm not gonna bother you all longer. And why I'm bold. Anyways. Wait. Didn't I test it? Does it work? No way. Guys, this is actually stupid. Yeah, you might want to end up, if you size up, like I said before, if you size it up too much, you might want to end up with your character glitching. So is it worth it? Not quite to size them up. Unless you're kind of really stupid. But yeah. This is how you scaled your tools. So this was the tutorial. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't miss my content if you want to see more tutorials on Fallen Pines. And I will see you in another one, guys. See ya!